So I'm Mahalik, and I'm going to be talking about the setup of the Arduino. Okay, so first we have these 4 LEDs which are connected to the pins on the Arduino and then connected to the ground through the resistors. And then we have the 3 switches to mirror the different states of the LEDs, which are all connected to the ground through the pull down resistors and connected to the proper input pins on the Arduino.
I'm Zach. I'll talk about the code. So here in the code, first, before the setup, we initialize 3 variables, switch state 1, 2, and 3, and we set them all to 0. Now we go into the setup, where we define the outputs and inputs. Pins 6, 7, 9, and 10 are all outputs, whereas pins 2, 3, and 4 are all inputs. Now in the loop function, we want to measure 3 things. First, we have switch state 1, 2, and 3, which will be assigned the values of digital read 2, digital read 3, and digital read 4. This just says that the values of switch state 1, 2, and 3 are the reading of the inputs on pins 2, 3, and 4. So for the first part, switch state 1 corresponds to the first button. And what we have here is when that button equals low or is unpressed, then we digital write pins 9 and 10 to be low. Basically, this allows us to look at two of the system as we're going through. And so among this, we have another if function saying when switch state 2 is low, then digital write 6 and digital write 7. 6 is high and 7 is low, and a delay of 756 milliseconds, and then we switch. This allows us to have the blinking, which will be used for the functional parts that will be described later. And so that's if switch state 2 equals low. Else, that means when the button is pressed, we have a similar oscillation of the blinking, except there's a different time period. This is for the, again, the functional parts of it, where we want to have different delays between the buttons. Further, we go to a different system now, where before we had switch state 1 was unpressed. Now when switch state 1 equals high, that means the button is pressed, and we look at a separate system regarding switch state 3. It's very similar to above, but now we have it immediately writes pins 6 and 7 as low instead of 9 and 10, and now 9 and 10 are going to be the ones that are blinking. And here, if the button is low, 9 and 10, 9 is set to high, 10 is set to low, a delay occurs, and then the pins switch, causing the blinking. Else, meaning the button is pressed, then we have 9 and 10 set to high and low again, and a different delay occurs, which shows a different kind of blinking, which will be, again, used for the functional parts described later.
Hi, I'm Tepo, and I'll talk about the function of the circuit. As you can see, we have 3 buttons, switch state 1, 2, and 3. And right now we have the resting heart rate of a normal person. And when you press this button, it switches over from the resting heart rate to the resting breathing rate. And when you leave the button, obviously you have to wait for the delay first to go back, and then it switches over back to the resting heart rate. So what we've done is the middle button will align with the one which is on the left, the LEDs on the left, and that when you press it, it switches over and becomes the exercise heart rate. And when you leave the button again, it'll go back to the normal, which is your resting heart rate. Now to activate the resting breathing rate, first we have to switch over, and we will end up switching over to the red LEDs, but then we press the outermost button again, and you have to wait for the delay to go through. But now we can see that the LEDs are faster, and that's the exercise breathing rate. Now we try to align the switches to become as intuitive as possible for the patients, so they don't become confused. So the rightmost button aligns with the red LEDs, the middle one aligns with the green LEDs, and the outermost will just work on switching between the 2 states. And yeah, that's it.